so plain and precious. Finally, the Book of Mormon is the keystone of testimony. Just as the arch crumbles if the keystone is removed, so does all the church stand or fall with the truthfulness of the Book of Mormon. The enemies of the church understand this clearly.
Travis Wingetzel. So, I had an idea for a video, and so I stopped the project I was working on to do a video here for you. As we're coming upon New Year's Eve, entering into the final months before our doom and utter destruction as prophesied by the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith. As Mormons eat, drink, and are getting married, refusing to recognize the danger they're all in, because they will not study their Book of Mormon. They will not study what the learning of the Jews is. And it's the church's fault, the prophets, for leading Mormons astray and Mormons being gullible to believe con artists and scammers that steal your money by pulling your emotional puppet strings. Because when a person can manipulate you through your emotions, you become their weapon. You become a violent person with your emotional outbursts in defense of your belief structure. You become Nehor of Alma, chapter 1. Who enforces their beliefs with violence. Mormons don't care because it's a cycle that traps them in the church. They have to have the right feeling, and then that perpetuates the falsehood that the prophets have been given Mormons. And it's the same cycle for Mormons who leave the church. They take that baggage with them. But instead of having a positive feeling about the church, it's turned into the flip side of being a negative feeling about the church. And so that cycle is the negative cycle rather than the positive cycle of Mormons. And so critics only hear doubt promoting information rather than faith promoting. And both can't pull out until something happens in their life where they realize that that's stupid. That living your life by feelings is destroying this world, is destroying this church, is destroying your life. As we're seeing it on a national and worldwide scale, as it's called by different names. And so the church, by the end of last week, before the long weekend, had 3 articles to prepare Mormons for spiritual feeling promotion. The first one was Enhance Book of Mormon Study. See how they're going to manipulate the study here? With historic images of the original manuscript. And so they show a picture of the binding of the 1830 edition of the Book of Mormon. That doesn't enhance your study. They lied in that title. That's not how you study. You don't look at pictures and go, oh, I know all about the Book of Mormon now. I'm an expert. But nonetheless, YouTube has flooded my feed with all the different Mormons doing videos for the Book of Mormon and Sunday school lessons. All claiming to be experts because they went to seminary, they graduated from BYU, they went on a mission, they read the Book of Mormon, they memorized the scripture masteries, and so they think they're an expert. They think they've studied. All I have to do is go to 1 Nephi chapter 1 verse 2, and I have confounded all of Mormonism. Just like the prophets did to Nehor and the antichrist. Because that's what Mormonism is all about. It is an antichrist religion promoting a false Christ to deceive Mormons. And Mormons don't see it. Mormons believe that Jesus is real because the prophets say that Jesus is real and assume that Jesus actually spoke to the prophets, as one man speaketh to another, not in their head. And so only the critics who leave the church are the ones who are doubters. And so Mormons have to change meanings. Study no longer means study. Testimony no longer means testimony. A manifestation no longer means manifestation. Faith no longer means faith, etc., etc., etc. And so Mormons reinforce that cycle, which is also referred to as a spiritual witness bubble and other imagery, to try to explain what Mormons are doing. But you have to study what the learning of the Jews is in order to understand the Book of Mormon correctly. Not a single Mormon does it. Even when they leave the church, they still don't do it. And thus, all are wrong. And yet you can see that the number of views they get on their videos, both the doubters and the faith promoters, are very popular. And here I am, the one and only one on the face of the earth who knows the truth. Because yes, the Bible also, which means all of Christianity is wrong, all of Islam is wrong. That's why I'm confident in saying that. And yet those who don't study are the ones who attack me and deny and abuse me because they didn't study, and so they have no counter argument other than abuse. Then you have 15 apostle quotes about the Book of Mormon. All of them are false. They're false prophets. By promoting Jesus, by promoting Joseph Smith as Christian, they are false prophets. They are lying to you. They are deceiving you. And yeah, I know, it goes against your faith promotion. It's shocking. Only a Korihor would say such things. Mormons can only attack. They cannot defend the church. And then the third and final one, church distributes 200 millionth copy of the Book of Mormon. It's got the wrong subtitle on it. Purposely designed to manipulate people's feelings when they read the Book of Mormon. Because they're supposed to be thinking Christian, they're supposed to be thinking Jesus. And those who leave know damn well it ain't true as Christian. But they don't study the learning of the Jews to find out what it is. So that they don't find out, like Mormons won't find out, the danger Mormons are in. The danger the United States of America is in. The danger that the whole world of humanity faces. We're on the brink of a global extermination event. Nobody cares. Everybody keeps fighting to get their law for their group to destroy the Constitution even further than it's already been destroyed. I did, however, see Stanford's comment. I don't know if it was this morning or yesterday, but he's actually studying. He is learning the basic principles that I talk about in my videos and applying it to his study of the Book of Mormon. And as a result, he's learning And so this was one of the insights that he had caught in 1 Nephi chapter 17. That with this new segment of an Exodus, verse 4, we did sojourn in for the space of many years, yea, even 8 years in the wilderness. And we did come to the land which we called Bountiful. He caught on that this is an Exodus pattern match. Moses, that's learning of the Jews. And here it is in the Book of Mormon. But not a single Mormon, not a single critic can make that connection. But Stanford did from listening and believing and applying what I've been telling you guys. 8 years for 8 days of Passover, for 8 days of the wrongly called Passion Week. It's 8 years for the latter days. Bountiful is the symbol of Zion to start the millennium after the latter days. And so, as everybody's well aware, especially those who went on missions, 3 Nephi chapter 11. The people were destroyed. There was an attempted coup of the government to overthrow the Constitution and reestablish a monarchy. Sound familiar? And then there's climate change crisis that occurs. And so afterward, now it came to pass that there were a great multitude gathered together. There was an exodus that occurred of the people of Nephi round about the temple, which was in the land Bountiful. And they were aware of the sign concerning the death. When you see Jesus Christ, you're not supposed to use Christian interpretation, regardless of whether it's Trinitarian or non-Trinitarian. You're supposed to use the learning of the Jews. That sign of the death is the 8th day, 8th year. The birth is the 1st year, the 1st day. This is what the Bible is teaching you, and it's here in the Book of Mormon, just with different stories to prophesy of the same things. And I am the only one who sees this, because I'm the only one who uses the learning of the Jews on the Book of Mormon. As the Book of Mormon told us to. And instead, everybody attacks me, denies what I say, don't believe and doubt. Mormons doubting? That's what happens when you put yourself into a false dichotomy of emotional being manipulated. The prophets own you. They control you by manipulating you so that you don't see what's coming. And then when it happens, they'll just say, you got to have faith, trust in the Lord. We speak for Jesus, it's Him. As you have to give up your rights to your life, your liberty, your family, your wife, your property. And yeah, there will be a purge far beyond what happened in the last 2 years, according to the news report the other night, which I had a dumbass commenter. Dear God. He didn't listen. He missed that the Salt Lake Tribune a couple years ago said 60% Mormon in Utah. And then the sociologists the other day, were now saying it's 42%. So he was saying, I don't get how you come up with your numbers. How could it be 600,000 have left the church? Do the math. The population after the census, which Utah was one of the rare states that actually got the census done. Remember that? Our census for the nation is incomplete. On purpose. But nonetheless, Utah is 3.38 or 338. One of the two. You can Google search it and it'll tell you. And so You then times it by 0.6, and then times it by 0.42, and then you subtract, you get 600. I was actually downplaying it. It's actually 601,000,000. But like they said, it was all based on polls. And so I didn't care to get a specific number, because it was pretty much useless to get a specific number, because they didn't get specific stats for their claim. But nonetheless, the church is collapsing on purpose. The church is purposely removing what they call the tares, the goats, the chaff, so that all who remain are the ones who are stuck in that cycle, who willingly give up their money, sacrifice their lives, attack me, or just ignore me altogether, and stick to those who tell them what they already believe, just like the doubters, not knowing that this is how cult leaders lead their flock to the slaughter. It's the exact same pattern match. Critics, you have a psychologist at your head too. He doesn't know the Book of Mormon either. He is no authority on the Book of Mormon. All he does is regurgitate the same doubt promotion that everybody already accepts. He knows how to manipulate people as a psychologist. And that's what the church is doing. That's why they have family services, so that those psychologists can help the church figure out how to brainwash the Mormons. And in between time, despite the collapsing of the church through this process, he has now made it so that he knows who the loyalists are, as he's weeding out the weak, as he calls them, by requiring tithing with the reward of participation. But you probably missed that video of mine on the church news. And so, yeah, the church wants to know who is loyal to them. That's why they went after the porn sites. They want a blacklist. But the Texas judge stopped them. And so then they went after social media platforms. And there are lawsuits to try to stop them. It'll be set to go in March, so that they will know who is loyal to the church and who isn't. Now, why would they want to know who's loyal to the church? They'd only need to know if they were going to take over the state of Utah and secede from the nation. That's the danger. We already have states that are seceding from the nation. They're not doing an official secession. They're doing their own will as a sovereign state, which is a violation of Article 6 of the Constitution. We are the United States, not the independent sovereign states. But people manipulate the wording and the meaning to push for their agenda. We are at war, and America has fallen. And now, as people have seen it fall, they are beginning to lead on their own. And so, yeah, it's both parties, in case you didn't know. It's not just Texas and the other MAGA states. It's also the Dem states. Colorado got reversed when they tried to secede from the nation to keep Trump off the ballot, which the federal government was supposed to do. It shouldn't have been the states, but they're trying to make it so that America is divided. Those who are for Trump, those who are against Trump. And if we see more Democrat states proceed with this denying him from the ballot, we're going to see an even greater division occur, as the election in 2024 is going to be sabotaged, as it already is. The delays and the trials, etc. But it's all right there in the Book of Mormon, 3rd Nephi, chapter 7, right before. So, alrighty. That's pretty much it. I have one more episode of season 1 of Star Trek Discovery. I'm watching them in order. And of course, with the new year, I have, again, ideas to try to have organization in my days, which I'm sure tomorrow it'll be ruined. But at least I want to try. You know, if the church wants to prevent me from doing my projects, all they have to do is make the news. And then I have to spend my whole day doing videos talking about the news story that the church did. And they know this. But, alrighty. Just too many people are dying. Too many people are focusing their anger on the wrong subject, on the wrong causation. Because that's what these puppet masters are able to do, is fool the people into believing that the enemy is those trying to save them. Right, Mormons and critics? Alrighty, Happy New Year.